Hello fellow book nerd, welcome to Tiny Book News channel with me Hesti. Today I'm so excited to show you my reading journal setup for 2022. This is the third year I'm using a reading journal. I mostly use it to track my reading goal and monthly reading progress, while for the other thing I'm using Goodreads and Notion. And by the way, I would love to be friend with you on Goodreads, so you can check all of my social media links down below in the description box. And also, for all of the supplies that I use to create this reading journal, I will put their information down below as well. So the first page is my cover page, nothing fancy in here. I use some stickers, washi tape, and a couple of scrap paper, then add the title reading journal with my alphabet stamp. Then my first reading spread is the bookshelf spread. I think it is the common spread that you will be seeing in everyone's reading journal. I will use it to track all of the books that I read in 2022. So every time I finish reading a book, I will color the spine based on the rating. I'm not sure how many books in this shelf, but I think it is more than 100, which is good enough for me. The next spread is for my Goodreads challenge. Next year, I want to continue this year's result, so my goal is to read 100 books for 2022. For this page, I will color code based on the genre. These are the main genre that I read this year, and I expect I will read most of them next year. But if later I read other one, I will just add them in here. The next spread is to track the series that I complete next year, but it is only for the series that I have started before 2022. This is my top reading goal for next year because currently I'm in the middle of 40 series. I know it's huge, that's why I want to prioritize reducing the number next year. While this one is for my other reading goal, in this spread, I want to track all of the books that I read next year that from my current physical TBR. So it's only the book that I got before 2022. I want to focus to read more physical book because this year I only read 15 of them out of 105 books that I read this year. Meanwhile, my TBR is become double from 110 into over 200. So my goal is to read at least 25 of them next year. And by the way, if you want to know more about my 2022 reading goals plus my reading stat for this year, I share more detail about them in my newest podcast episode. I will leave the link in the description below if you want to check them out. For the next spread is one of my favorite. It is 22 books that I want to read in 2022, or in short, my top TBR for the next year. Most of the book in here are backlist except for Aunties and a Wedding. It is the sequel of Diary of Aunties. I read it this year and I'm in love with that book. It is hilarious, so entertaining, and I cannot wait to read the sequel. Then the new release from Colin Hoover, Reminders of Him. This year, I become the number one fan of Colin Hoover, so obviously her new release book will be on top of my TBR. And we have Once Upon a K-Prom from Cat Jo, the author of Wicked Fox. And lastly is the final Gambit, which is the final book in the Inheritance game, and also my all-time favorite series. I also have some of 2021 new releases that I could not get my hand to this year, like Iron Widow, Empire of Empire, This Hollow Falls, For Your Own Goods by Samantha Downing, my favorite thriller author, and the TikTok phenomenon, The Love Hypothesis. I hope I could read at least half of them next year because this year I don't use this spread. And I noticed because of that, I completely forgot about books that I was planning to read this year. So hopefully this will be a good reminder for me before I get distracted by some title that I find in script or Kindle. Next is my TBR tracker. It is to help me reduce my physical TBR. So at the beginning of the month, I will write the amount of books in my TBR. Then by the end of the month, I will add the number with the books that I hold that month minus all of the books that I read and unhold. So hopefully by doing that, I could reduce my TBR from over 200 into 150. The next couple pages is for the reading challenge that I will be participating next year. The first one is Buzzword Readathon. It is hosted by Lala from the channel Books and Lala. So every month we have a reading prompt and you can read as many books as you like that meet the prompt. My plan is to read at least one book for each prompt, but I haven't planned my TBR for this one yet. Next is for the A to Z challenge. For this challenge, you need to read the book that the title starts with the alphabet. I tried this challenge for the first time this year and it is really fun, so I want to continue doing the same thing for next year. The last reading challenge is Beat the Backlist created by Novel 9. I knew about this challenge from Mackenzie. I will leave her channel link down below. So for this challenge, you need to read the 2022 backlist title, meaning books that released before 2022. It has 52 prompts, and whenever I read a book for a prompt, I will cross the bingo board and write the book title in here. This is my other favorite spread. It is my best read in 2022. Every month, I will print out the cover of my favorite book for that month, and by the end of the year, I will battle each of the book until I get the top 3. So one from this row, one from here, and one from here. Then I will battle those 3 and choose my best read for the year. Next is the new spread that I tried for the first time this year. It is inspired by life between books. In this spread, I will put all of the books that I give 5 stars in 2022. I have 16 spaces in here and hopefully it will be fit because this year out of 105, I give 15 of them 5 stars. So we will see what will happen for the next year. Next is for my reading overview. It's basically my reading stat because I really love stat. I want to see how many books that I read every month and the total pages. I also want to know how many physical, ebook, audiobook, and graphic novel, as well as art. I want to include art in here because this year I started to receive art and I want to see how many of them that I read every month. Another reading stat page. This one I want to track the amount of new release, backlist, and books from my physical TBR that I read every month. My goal is to balance the proportion between these 3. The next one is for my rating for the year. I will using the bar to show how many books for each rating. This year I mostly give 3 and 4 star. Only 2 or 3 titles that I give with 2 and 15 of them are 5 stars. While in here, I want to see how many books I read for each genre. Then this part is for the age group, the young adult, middle grade, and adult book. This is my most favorite spread, but also the one that gives me the back pain because it took me hours to complete this spread. It is my series tracker inspired by Life Between Words. In here, I list down all of the series that I'm currently in the middle of, which is 40. The color in here to show which year that I read that book. So for this light blue is for the books that I read in 2017, orange for 2018, blue is for 2019, green for 2020, and purple for this year 2021. I really like how this page turned out and I found that it is really helpful for me because it's not only helped me to see how many series that I need to finish, but it also allowed me to see how long I have started the series. Like this damage file. I started the first two books in 2017, and 4 years later, I still haven't read the final book in the series. Also, this spread helped me to see how long it took for me to complete a series. Let's take the series of The Unfortunate Events as example. It took me 3 years to read the first 9 books in the series, and maybe I think I could read the rest of it in the next year. And this is all of the series that I'm currently in the middle of, and I leave 2 blank pages for the series that I will be starting in 2022. In this one, I want to read down all of the 100 books that I own. Yes, you heard it right. I will list down all those 200 books in here. I know that I will need a couple of days to finish it, but I think this spread will be helpful for me to focus on reading the books that I already own. And my last spread is my bookish calendar. It is for me to write down any bookish event like readathon or new release that I want to check. That's all of my yearly spread for this reading journal. I'm truly happy with how it turned out, and I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss my next video. See you soon, friends!